Hi and welcome to this FreeRTOS Windows Quick Start. I'm Norman McIntyre. Let's get started. So the deal here is if you follow these steps, you'll be able to get your Windows simulator up and running and running it on the FreeRTOS to demonstrate the APIs. Of course, the advantage of this is you don't need actual hardware. And I want to stress, even if you're using a Mac or a Linux machine, instead of using Windows, you can always download a virtual machine and run Windows inside a VM. So I'm going to do this one on a Windows machine. So step one, go to freertos.org site, a site we'll go to many times as we go through this course. Step two, you're going to click right here where it says Quick Start. Right, we're eager to see some results, so we're going to click on Quick Start right here. Step three, click on the FreeRTOS Windows port. So you'll see it right here, the FreeRTOS Windows port. And so the idea is this will be our absolute fastest way of seeing this get up and running. Step four. Notice there's a preamble for beginners saying getting started with simple FreeRTOS projects. So if we wanted to, just get started right away on that. And so if you click on that, it'll bring you to here and they'll say we're going to have a simple Blinky demos. And the simple Blinky demos, basically it blinks an LED and it says we'll create 2 tasks, we'll have a queue, and you might have a software timer. Now, if you scroll down, you'll see try it now using Windows port. Alright, so you keep scrolling down, it'll say try it now using the Windows port. And you'll see here they have something called main blinky.c and main.c. In fact, you can see this is inside the Microsoft Visual Studio, and we're exploring this project for this particular screenshot, and we see we've got the main.c and then the main blinky.c. And remember, they will have already written this code for you. All you'll have to do is download it. So to download it, make sure you've got the Visual Studio Express. So you can go to visualstudio.microsoft.com/vs.express and you can download this community version of Visual Studio. So you don't have to purchase Visual Studio, you can use it, this community version. Step 8, assuming you've already got the Visual Studio downloaded, you can download and unzip the FreeRTOS project. In fact, right here, notice where it says the RTOS source code download instructions. There's a button right here that says download source code and projects. And remember, a single download is going to get everything you need. It's going to get all the source code and it's going to get all the projects. So if I click on that, in this case it brought me to this site, to SourceForge. And notice it downloaded a FreeRTOS version 10.1.1.exe. Now, the reason it's an exe, since I was doing this on a Windows machine, it's going to be a self-extracting zip. If you were doing this on a Linux machine or if you were doing it on a Mac, you'd see it would actually download as a zip file. But here, since I'm on Windows, I've got the FreeRTOS version 10.1.1 as a self-extracting executable. So of course I download it and I double click on it and it says it'll say it's a 7-zip self-extracting archive. And notice in this case it's going to put it under my default directory under downloads, and I created another directory called FreeRTOS version 10.1.1. I created this so whatever it extracted, it would put it inside of there. So your directory may be different, but this is where I decided to put mine. And then of course I click on extract. It starts extracting the files, and it takes a little bit for it to go through and extract all the different source files that are there. Once you've done that, you'll see that inside this directory, if I go inside this directory that I created, it created another directory called FreeRTOS version 10.1.1. And inside of here, we see there's various HTML files we can look at. The one we're most interested in is this FreeRTOS right here. This folder is going to have the code that's most important to us. We know that the FreeRTOS Plus is for the ecosystem, that we have, so our focus is on the FreeRTOS kernel. So if you go down into that, you'll see there's under FreeRTOS there's a demo folder, and under the demo folder you'll see there's lots of different pre-written demos. The one we're interested in for Windows is the Win32-MSVC, so the Microsoft Visual C for Win32. And so you can tell I've gone down into there, and we see, no surprise, we see a main.c, we see a main blinky.c. We see what's probably most important to us is we have a solution that's for the Win32 solution. And so if I double click on that particular file, win32.sln, and by the way, it'll only recognize this file type if you have gone ahead and installed either Visual Studio or the Community Edition of Visual Studio. So when you double click on that, depending on what you've installed, this is what actually happened to me. On the machine I was using for this demo, I had not yet installed the C++ into Visual Studio. So when I started it up, it said, well, you're missing the Visual Studio feature of C++. Do you want me to go ahead and install it? And of course I said, yep, you can go ahead and install that since I need it for this project. And it starts the install process. It actually took a little while because notice it was a 4.97 gigabyte download. So this is one of those times you may want to go and get a cup of coffee or a snack while this is running. In fact, it first goes through the process of acquiring all the files, and then it goes through the process of then installing it. And after a while, it finally completes. It'll say the installation is complete, and then you can click on close. At that point, in my particular case, when I was doing this, it did open it up, but then I had an error. And notice the error message. First, well, let's see where I'm at. I'm under Users, SD Demo, Downloads, FreeRTOS 10 P1, FreeRTOS 10.1.1, and then under FreeRTOS Demo, Win32, MSVC, Win32, and here's my Visual C project. And notice what was happening. It was trying to open up this project, and we got this error. The build tools for Visual Studio 2015. So this is actually using Visual Studio 2015, and what we have installed is Visual Studio 2017. So it's telling me that, well, I can't open this one up. You've got an older project. But lucky for us, notice it says either click the project menu or right click the solution and select retarget solution. Retarget solution. So what I did in my case, I said I'm going to click on the project menu and I'm going to select retarget solution. So notice project menu, retarget solution. And the idea is it will retarget the solution, that is update it to be this particular version of the, update the project so it'll be for the most recent one. And sure enough, it brings up this screen and says, okay, I'm going to retarget your project. I'm basically going to update it so it's now uses this particular version 141 instead of previously it was version 140. And I say, okay, go ahead and do that. And sure enough, it runs through some conversions. You'll see that it's upgrading your project, your RTOS demo project, and it'll update it going from version 140 to version 141. And at the end, it'll say the retargeting was completed. Ah, finally. So at that point, we can look at the Solution Explorer, and we see our Solution Explorer here. We see our RTOS demo, and we see our file structure. I won't say too much about this. We'll focus mainly going right to the, getting this to up and run. But the main.c is where everything starts at. So if I click on main.c, you'll find this comment saying, if main create simple Blinky demo only is 1, then Blinky demo will be built. The Blinky demo is implemented and described in main blinky.c. And remember their naming convention. They begin with where this configuration comes from. So main is the name of the file, right? Main.c. So main in this configuration is create simple Blinky demo is 1. And notice when I downloaded it, it is already set to 1. So all I need to do, the next step is to build the solution. So I say build solution. And of course it starts building, and you can watch the files as they build, right? Building the different files. And I want to draw to your attention, it's building not only the files like main.c, but also task.c and queue.c and port.c and so forth. All of this being built as part of this pre-configured project. And then we see at the very end it says the build succeeded, which is always a good thing to see that the build succeeded. Now we're ready to start debugging. So I go under the debug tag and I say start debugging. And when I click on start debugging, as you can imagine, it starts running. Yay! We get our simulator running, and we can see we're receiving a message from a task. So basically this code, although we haven't looked at the code yet, we know that somehow or another a message is being received from a task, and it's actually printing out the message here on the screen. Final step is to stop debugging. You can come over here to this red dot, click on the red square, and then stop it from debugging. So in summary, you have the skills now to install and start running the FreeRTOS Windows Simulator. This is certainly one of the steps you should take. It's particularly useful if you don't have any hardware. You can try it out on the Windows Simulator, and I would recommend go through these steps and get your simulator running just like I showed here. I'm Norman McIntyre. Thanks as always for watching.